The following podcast is rated D for dumb, and yes, it is rated D for democracy. It is rated D for Dominion software.
The following program is rated D for dumb.
All right, we'll explain some of these things. Why did I say this? Why did I say that? Why do I say anything? Why do I even bother doing a podcast on November 17th on the Thruway on my way to work? Hey, let's go for a drive.
9 o'clock, I'm bored to death. Smoke so much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the brooding kind, but there's still one thing makes me come alive. Yeah, I'm gone for a drive.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
All right, thank you, Alex Exum, ALEXEXUM, AlexExum.com. Hey guys, are you ready to take a drive with me? We're going to work on a Tuesday. Yeah? You're excited about going to work? Really? Well, you're excited that I'm going to work and you don't have to go to work with me. Well, there's plenty of room in the caravan. You can ride shotgun if you want. I got like 5, 6, 7, I don't know how many seats in the back of this 2011 Dodge Caravan. So you're more than welcome to come along for the ride. Come along for the drive. We are on the New York State Thruway. We are northbound, just past the 103 mile marker. It's 4:11 p.m. and it's November 17th. So it's been 2 weeks since the election. And I don't know how long it's been since my last podcast. Let's take a look. Some of you care, some of you don't care. Okay, yeah, my last podcast was published November 8th. Why did I take so much time off? That's a good question. There's a lot of reasons, mental reasons, emotional reasons, spiritual reasons, sleep deprived and brain degraded reasons. Anybody who's listened to the first 268 podcasts, yes, you heard me correctly. If you've heard me at all during the first 268 podcasts, this is number 269, then you know what I'm talking about. I don't always have, but oftentimes I'll have issues. And I'm a real person. I'm not just some corporate podcaster paid millions of dollars by some podcast platform. And that's not a shot at anybody. I'm just saying I'm a real person. I go to work. This is not what I do full time. I like to think I do, and sometimes I pretend that I do, and then that's when I get into trouble. And that's kind of what happened to me last week, where I think I'm going to do certain things, and I hate when podcasters do that. I hate when they talk about what they're going to do, and then they don't come through, and then everybody's disappointed. Oh, man, I was waiting. I actually had one person for the first time wrote to me and said, hey, I'm waiting on your podcast. I'm like, yeah, me too. I was basically in a mental and emotional prison. I couldn't get out of it. Really bad situation for me. Anyway, here's the positive. The positive is we're here. Let's do this. Let's talk about some things that I've wanted to talk about and you want to talk about. And I appreciate we got some phone calls. People called in to the Dumbing It Down with Dave hotline, also called the Dumb Line. All right. I don't know if it's ever going to take the Dumb Line, but the Dumbing It Down with Dave hotline, everybody knows what hotline is. And that number is 3477-I-AM-DUMB. You can call it any time. That's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365, never closes phone number. 3477-I-AM-DUMB. And numerically, that comes out to 347-746-3862. That number, once again, operators are standing by. 347-746-3862. If you'd like to, if you're on a platform that you can't leave a comment, there's a lot, out of the 30 platforms that I'm on, there's only 2 or 3 that you can actually write a comment. So many of you are on Apple Podcast. Thank you. So many of you are on Spotify. Thank you. And now I'm building this huge following in India. Geo Savin, thank you. And for those of you who are listening in the Russian Federation, thank you. I'm always amazed when I go to my analytics page and I see people from all over the world listening. I don't know how you're doing it if you don't speak English. If you do speak English and you are listening in another country, I wish I can offer you something. Like, hey, if you are listening from another country and speak English and listen to the show, because I see the numbers, I see the countries, and they're there every month. And I'm like, well, what's that all about? I would offer up a t-shirt or a keychain or something. But I have nothing to offer you except my thanks and gratitude. So if you could leave a comment, that would be great, on Spreaker, or tweet me at Dumb with Dave, at DUMB with Dave. Email me. That's international, isn't it? Dumbing it down with Dave at yahoo.com. Dumbing, D-U-M-B-I-N-G. Dumbing it down with Dave at yahoo.com. Of course, there's the hotline, the dumb line. Tweet me at Dumb with Dave. My website, isn't that international? Isn't that global? All right, dumbingitdownwithdave.com. Dumbingitdownwithdave.com. It's all the same. And there's a comment section there. It works. We check it all the time. It works. And I've been getting comments. Some of the comments I really don't understand. I don't know what's going on. It's some sort of bot thing happening. I don't know. Some weird messages are coming in. And I think you can see them too, if you want to. I actually have a blog post. I was supposed to have shared that already. But I have a blog post, if you want. Take a look at my blog post on dumbingitdownwithdave.com. I think you go to blogs at the top of. I believe me, I'm just as unfamiliar with my website as you are. I need to work that into the conversation way more. Oh, and of course, my favorite, the Dumbing It Down. Not my favorite, but right now it kind of is, because I think it's the most accessible. The Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. Definitely. If you can't comment here, or if you can't call the dumb line, the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. What is it called? How do I find it? Well, I think you type in the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. Maybe not maybe just Dumbing It Down, but there's a Facebook group called Dumbing It Down with Dave. All right, so that covers all of that, how to get in touch with me. We definitely have some comments. We're not going to review. I think I left off episode 261, 262. I think we're just going to jump to the last episode, and then at some point, maybe later this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe whenever, I'll do a bonus episode, and we'll catch up. I think we're really, at the end of this catching up things. I feel like it's been I feel like I spent the whole COVID catching up with comments. And every time I do, not every time, but no, that's true. Not every time, but sometimes I do 4 or 5 episodes, but then I don't catch up. And I want to be caught up. I want you guys to, know that, hey, if I do a show on Tuesday, which, by the way, here's a typical podcaster thing for me to say. I think from now on, without a doubt, I'm doing a show Tuesdays. I'm going to do a show every Tuesday. That is something I need to establish for myself. And you need to know that you can count on an episode being released Tuesday p.m. Because I've been doing a lot of overtime on Tuesdays. So I need to do a Tuesday episode on the way to work. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Tuesdays I don't feel like it. So I'm going to end up lying and cheating or whatever, and, letting you guys down, and then going to Wednesday. So, but my goal is to do an episode every Tuesday on the way to work. And I should be going to work earlier, not at 4:11. I should be on the road by 2:15. I'm supposed to really be at work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But we don't really do the time clock thing where people are late. They don't really hold your feet to the fire. They don't do a lot of things at my job. But maybe they should. So, and that'll be the first episode of going into work. And of course, the last episode of the week, the second episode of the week, because I only need to do 2.5 hours. I can do as many as I want, right? But right now, I'm only capable, I think, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and every which way but loose, of 2 episodes a week. And I'll do one on the way back. That's the original concept of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Doing it in my car, in my caravan, in my Kia Rio, whatever I'm driving, going to and from work. It's not supposed to be a show where I'm sitting down at a desk. That'll be a different show. I'll still do it from time to time, but that's a different show. And I'll be live and I'll have guests. But until then, that's the schedule. Tuesdays and Saturdays. All right? If I feel up to it, I'll do a show early. I'll do it Friday. If I don't feel up to it, I'll do a show Sunday morning. That's what I meant to say. Not Saturdays on the way back, Sundays. But it doesn't matter. As long as they're spaced apart, like 3 or 4 days. 2 different perspectives of Dave. One on the way in, one on the way back. One like now, where I'm somewhat rested, full of hope, optimism, energy, as you can hear, and I'm on my way into work. The sun is setting behind me to the left as I'm traveling north. It's setting to the west. The weather pattern is partly cloudy, mostly cloudy. There's a whole break of blue sky to the west of me over the Adirondacks. That's not the Adirondacks. That's not even the Catskills. I think that's Greene County. It doesn't matter. Why am I painting a visual for you? You know why? Because some people enjoy it. That's the beauty of this country. So I want to thank, we'll get to that. We'll talk about democracy. We'll talk about Dominion. We'll talk about the phone calls that have come in and the comments. So there's the hotline number. Thank you, Hal and Philly, for the song Going for a Drive. Haven't heard from Hal in a long time. I've reached out to him. I haven't heard from him, but I hope he's doing okay. I see him posting from time to time. I don't know how he's doing with Tales of the Road Warriors podcast, but I know he's got the song Going for a Drive available on Bandcamp. Go to bandcamp.com, and he's only asking for $1, but you can give him more than $1 because that would be a nice gift for a guy who's out of work because of the COVID and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm doing the loop-de-loop here at Catskill, and there's a state trooper. By the way, all the tolls are gone now, supposedly in New York State. We are now 100% cashless tolls, no toll collectors. Some of the barriers still exist, but the collectors are gone, which has presented a problem at my job, but not so much a problem in my personal vehicle. Anyway, so just want to give you an update on the thruway here. Does it affect my loop-de-loop? Right now it doesn't. Right now I'm okay. I don't know how it's going to affect me in the future, but right now I'm still doing the loop-de-loop and traveling free of charge on the New York State Thruway as long as I get off before the 30 miles are up. And I got to get used to driving through these barriers and not hitting the brakes and slowing down. All right, so there you go. A little personal live on-the-spot reaction to this new system that we have. Hopefully it's working. And hopefully I'm still not being charged for driving up to Albany, because I save a lot of money, by the way. I know I've saved a couple $1,000s a year doing the loop-de-loop. Thank you, Hal and Philly, halandphilly.com. Thank you, Hal and Philly, for the song Going for a Drive. Thank you, Alex Exum. And thank you, Linda Irwin from Awesome Insanity Surfers, for Harry's voice and the other AI voices. And we'll have AI voices as long as Linda enjoys creating them, and I give her some ideas and this and that. We will continue to have AI voices in the near future. I enjoy them. So, it takes a lot of burden off of me. Let somebody else do the announcing. Let somebody else announce certain things. Anyway, so I think that's everybody I need to thank. And thanks to, that's it, PodPub for powering the website, the Dumbing It Down with Dave website. PodPub. Thank you, PodPub. Okay, so there you go. And Spreaker, of course, Spreaker. All right, they don't need my help. They need my help in more ways than one, but they don't need my help. All right, so what do we do first? All right, let's we might as well play some phone calls, right? Let's talk about democracy. So I said last episode, and it was weird because, I don't script the show, and I just blurted out, D is for dumb, D is for democracy. It's just something that came to mind. And then I got a phone call about it. Now, listen, there's always this conversation. Do we live in a democracy? Is the United States a constitutional republic or whatever? Yeah, I get all that. I'm interested, and then there's a certain part of me that's not interested in any of that. It's a democracy. In other words, as far as when I said it, I meant we live in a democracy, like we live in with a certain expectation of freedom. When I said that, that's what I meant. I was thinking red, white, and blue. I was thinking of flags waving. Hey, we have a certain amount of freedom. Not 100% freedom, but a certain amount of freedom. Look at this. I'm in my car, and I'm talking fairly freely, without restrictions for the most part, with Spreaker on a podcast platform. And then, Apple will eventually hear what I have to say. And, if there's any problems, blah, blah, blah. If one of you complain, blah, 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 there's problems. But for the most part, it's a free world. It's a free United States. We live in a democracy. That's how I envisioned it when I said it. But not everything's free, and not everything is free of charge, and not everything is, doesn't come with some sort of repercussions at some point. there's always a give and take, and that's fine. It's good to have a little pushback, right? It's good to have a little resistance. But I get the whole thing, and let me just tell you, I Googled democracy. Now, here's an interesting thing now about Google, because now Google supposedly is a little bit towards one side and not the other. They're hiding, conservative opinion. They're hiding, they're burying it in the search results. It's very hard to find. I guess maybe the keywords. There's talk that things are being done. And that's fine. That's a great conspiracy theory. I have no problem with it. Maybe it's not even a conspiracy theory. Maybe it's just a theory. One of these days, I guess maybe the next episode, I'll look up conspiracy theory. Let's define the words that we say. All right? Conspiracy theory. I don't know if there's a conspiracy. I don't know if it's just a couple of people at Google. I don't know if it's the company statement, like their mission statement is to bury Republicans, bury conservatism, bury anything that doesn't agree with whoever is in charge of that at Google. I find it very hard to believe the thousands and thousands of people at Google that they're all, whatever, liberal, a registered Democrat, or not even that they're liberal or registered Democrat, to the left or whatever, but they would be so anti-Republican. That's what concerns me, that you would be so anti-Republican that you would play with the controls, that you would do something which would take away from the original intent of Google, which is a search engine, as far as I know, even though they've branched off into all these other things. But, whatever. It's just, I could never do that. I wouldn't do that. I mean, unless that was my original intention. Hey, this show or this platform is intended for this. And then if you see that it doesn't go the way it's intended, you tweak the controls. But Google was supposed to be this generic search engine. I mean, every search engine before this, remember, there was Excite, and there was, whatever. I can't remember the names of it, but so many different search engines. Bing. Is Bing making a resurgence? Are they Republican? I hear about Bing all the time, but I never use it. So I know it's out there. All right. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of the other one with the steering wheel. It was very popular, Explorer or something like that. There was another search engine. I can't remember it. All right. It doesn't matter. Internet Explorer. I think that's what it was called. All right. Democracy. According to Google, when you Google the word democracy, here's what it comes out: a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. So there you go. That's good enough for me. That works for me, yeah. Elected representatives and eligible members of the state who vote and all this other stuff. It's fine with me. So when I said it, that's what I meant. All right. But we got a phone call, so let's play that in regards to me blurting out that D is for democracy.
Hey, this is Bill Spencer. I just wanted to help you out on that democracy thing. Democracy is majority rule. We're actually a constitutional republic. So what we do is we elect representatives and they represent the people. So I just wanted to give you a heads up, okay? So you're politically correct, okay? So talk to you later. Bye.
All right, thank you, Bill Spencer. I appreciate you. It's funny. I just heard the phone hang up. I wonder if he's calling from a real phone. Did you hear that? That was interesting. You don't hear that anymore. Usually he just ends. But it sounded like he hung up his phone. Does Bill still have a phone that you hang up? All right, that's what it sounded like to me. Okay, anyway, Bill can tell us. I hope he's listening. And I appreciate him. He's a former co-worker. He's a truck driver, and I appreciate him not only listening, but also calling in. Thank you. On the dumb line, the Dumbing It Down with Dave hotline, 347-746-3682, 3862. I can't even remember now. I should know that, right? 347-7 I am dumb. Here it is right here. 347-746-3862. I should accentuate that. 38. Like NBC. 3862. Maybe it'll help me remember. All right, so that was one phone call we got. And here's the other phone call we got. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. And it's right here. See if you recognize this voice.
Dave, what's up?
Wait, did he just cough? Check this out. Bobby, did you cough? Did you do a throat clearing before you listen to this?
Dave, what's up? Bobby Massey here. Long time no here. I'm here, but I'm not really here. I think we're living in a bizarro world, sir. I'm just replying back to your Biden's gonna lose huge episode, and I just don't know how to take this, man. We're all taken aback. I mean, this is crazy. Everything that's going on in the world. Just want to say I'm really enjoying your shows, and that I hope that you play this sometime, and that we can catch up. Later, man. Be good. Peace.
Peace. Thank you, Bobby, and thank you for clearing your throat. I don't know what that is. I like that stuff. Anyway, so, that's there was that Brian De Palma movie years ago with John Travolta called Blowout. And he was a sound recording engineer, and I thought that was pretty cool that he might have picked up on something. And anyway, listen, I'm not 100% into that whole paranormal thing and voices and whatever, but, white noise and all that. But, hey, there it is right here. It's live. I have it right here. Yeah, there you go. All right, so what do we got here? 21 minutes into the show. So the last show I did, 268, was What Now? First of many parts. Yeah, so I had said that I was going to do this show, then let it sit for a while, let you guys comment, because I knew you guys were pretty emotional. On both sides, by the way. Winners and losers. Everybody's very emotional. One of the positives, I think, of the Trump presidency is this awakening of the electorate. People who can vote. People who are waking up. Some people you wish would stay asleep. Remember when they woke up Godzilla? When they with the lightning bolt, on that Monster Island, oh, look, Godzilla. Oh, yeah, Godzilla's awake. Even when he defends Japan, right? When he defends Japan against other monsters, he does a lot of destruction. It's the tail. The tail is very destructive. He needs to ponytail the tail. You know how people have that long hair and they ponytail it because it gets in the way? So he needs to do something about that tail. Or he needs to not fight within the inner city of Japan. He needs to maybe stay on the border. When Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, goes and attacks Japan, maybe Godzilla needs to stay on the border, because he's just, as much as he's saving the world and saving Japan, he's just very destructive. So my point being, hey, we're waking up all these people, but now there's just so much out there, and I think a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. And that, by the way, that includes me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I did an episode. Which one is it here? I did an episode. I think it was 260. I'm going back now, and I'm wasting time. That's not it. Wow, which one is it? How far back did I go? I think I went back pretty far, right? All right, whatever. By the time I stop searching, oh, there it is. Now, Biden is going to lose huge. News at 11, a pragmatic prediction. Yeah, Biden is going to lose huge. That was episode 248. So, yeah, that was 20 episodes ago. I predicted that, and then came election night. I did a show because I got a phone call from Pat Mason, which I can't play right now. I can play it somewhere, but whatever. And he said, you should do an election show. So I did the night of the election, and I still felt, using common sense, using pragmatism, using everything I've seen, and I like to think I'm pretty objective, because I really don't have a horse in this race as far as I'm concerned. And I'll prove that to you in a second, if I can. There was no way Biden was going to win, because his whole campaign was down in the dungeon. He was down in the basement. And Trump was working it. Now, I think Trump could have worked it differently. I think he could have worked it differently from day one, 4 years ago. And I had many conversations about this with my buddy Mark. I don't recall if I've mentioned it on the show, but I think he could have, if any of this responsibility, which it has to, if he does in fact lose, because by the way, it's not over yet. I mentioned D is for Dominion. We got this software issue. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, a registered Libertarian, or a registered Republican. If there's any question, yes, I would be saying this if Trump won, of course, because I have been saying it ever since the Hanging Chads. And this is a real stain on America, that since the Hanging Chads of 1980, we really haven't perfected this. The fact that there's any question at all, and there have been votes that have been overturned. People say, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? They have, in fact. It's out there. But if you just listen to one side of the media, they're going to be in full denial, which is another stain in America. That our journalists aren't really journalists. They're propagandists or whatever, on both sides. On all sides. Everybody just seems to want what they want. Everybody sort of seems to feel entitled. So I can't really speak to this Dominion software, but I'm seeing a lot of YouTube about it from not just from some guy like me in a van, from legitimate professors from Princeton and so on and so forth. But it shouldn't matter whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, Libertarian, Socialist, whatever. It doesn't matter whether you're AOC or whether you're Lindsey Graham. It doesn't matter who you are. You should be saying, wait a minute, what? Oh, there's a question? Oh, there's a doubt? Forget about, rich orange boy. I've read that, I've seen it. And again, that's all disrespectful, and I don't appreciate that. But the truth is, if there's any crack in the war, it has to be investigated. It has to be. And there is a process. There is a process, and it takes time. I realize that people think they have won, and they might think they know they've won, and that's fine. I'm not here to argue that. What I'm saying, if there's a process, let's take a breather and just let the process do what it needs to do. And by the way, you've been involved in processes. I've been involved in processes. Sometimes it just takes time. And people look at you, hey, when you go? It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. Just because you can still go to McDonald's and get $1 burger and $1 any size Coke or whatever, doesn't mean that the whole world is like McDonald's. You don't just drive through and make an order and get what you want 5 seconds later. It takes time. Remember, we are now living in this fast food society. Once upon a time, it wasn't so fast food. And I got to tell you, I'm missing a lot of that. I'm missing pre-social media, pre-internet, news where it was biased. And maybe news was always biased. Like, I wish I could go back 30 years ago and watch the news and pay attention because, boy, I'm amazed at how biased the news is right now. And it's so bad that we have to have new networks coming out where people who think that they can do it better, like in OAN, One America Network, and there's Newsmax. These are both, Republican-based or right-wing-based. And now there's Parler, on the internet. So we need to have, that's not a news network, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, we're so beat up and we're so disenfranchised, we're so disappointed with the cable networks and the regular networks, with Fox and MSNBC and all that other stuff. Now we have yet more. We're staffing these newsrooms with yet more people. OAN, Newsmax, and whoever. And now Ben Shapiro has his own thing. Linda, Malkin, whatever. Everybody has their own thing. The Blaze. We're branching out, which is good, and it's bad. There's a process to it. So take a deep breath. Maybe next episode, things will be figured out. But there's affidavits coming. Do I have time to explain affidavits? I had it here on the phone, and I don't think I do. If I take a chance, we're going to go over, and I don't want to go over. All right, folks. That was my episode. I almost didn't want to do it. I wanted to prepare tonight, but I didn't. I just got in the car, and I did it. I feel better about it. I hope you feel better about it. My apologies for those of you who are expecting something different and or more. Well, I did it. That's all I can say. I'm happy that I did it. I hope you're happy I did it. Hal, are you happy that I did it? Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed, and great skills. Take care. See you next episode.